The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is a special bonus episode of 70mm, a podcast for film lovers. Every Monday, I'm joined by famous artist Danny Haas.
I mean, she says, come experience me. What?
And writer-poet Protolexis.
But just, I mean, this has Luke, Han, and Leia in it. It makes me sick.
And together as friends forever, we discuss recently watched movies. This entire episode is devoted to the infamous Star Wars Holiday Special from 1978, which was only ever aired one time, thanks to the Christmas magic of YouTube. The warmth and love from that special is here today. It can't be as bad as everyone says, right? Stay tuned. As this episode is released, it's Christmas morn. You know, you're opening presents. You're watching Wonder Woman 84. You're watching Soul on Pixar. And you're probably thinking, maybe we're going to get one of those movies. Special edition episode of 70mm. Boy, were you wrong. This has been, I think by the time this episode is posted, our Babes in Toyland episode will be out. So it's been a rough recording week for you, Proto. How are you feeling as we're about to talk about Star Wars Holiday Special 1978?
Honestly, I have only felt this way once before during the show, and it's when we were recording Last Action Hero. That's the vibe I'm getting right now. I'm trying to push it out. I'm trying to stay positive, and make this a special moment for everyone's Christmas.
Yeah. We're trying to, one last gift to the villagers of enjoyment. Maybe you're not able to see your loved ones this holiday. You're alone in your apartment. And this is your piece. This is your gift that we're trying to offer. I will say that confidentially, Proto sent a DM this week. Just 2 words. I can't. While he was watching this. Danny, had you ever seen this before? Ever?
Yeah.
You have?
I have.
Yeah.
I've seen it maybe twice before this. Once because it's like one of those things where if you're a Star Wars fan at this specific level, you've had to have seen this, I guess.
It's a rite of introduction or whatever.
The rite of passage. You got to see Boba Fett's first appearance. So I've seen this. I own a bootleg from a convention on a DVD. The only way you could buy it, basically. So yeah.
Before we get into Proto's off the cuff, patented bonus episode synopsis, unplanned. This is available on YouTube. Maybe you want to watch it for the first time ever. It's not on Disney Plus. There's no HD version of this. There's a CBS VHS version on YouTube. So if you want to check it out, by all means. But other before YouTube, this is exactly what Danny said. Bootlegs floating around, tapes. Proto, do you want to bother attempting to give a synopsis for the Star Wars Holiday Special 1978?
My God, if I can, I'll try. So there's something called Life Day in Star Wars.
I swear. Jesus Christ.
And Chewbacca needs to get home for it. He's got his wife, Mala, his son, Lumpy, and either his father or father-in-law, Itchy, waiting for him. And if I may say, Itchy, maybe the ugliest creature ever devised by man.
His jaw is horrifying.
His lips, there's no way his lips meet up in any
He's got to be
way.
drooling all day long in that little tree house.
I mean, he looks pissed about it too. Drooling everywhere. So they're getting into the festivities of Life Day. Lumpy is he's got a lot of gadgets at home. He's
It's a tech guy.
he's very much a young tech guy. He's looking at holograms of people dancing. But then we got issues. We got our heroes get involved. We see Luke Skywalker. We see Princess Leia. Of course, we see Han. Not enough of Han, if I can be frank.
Mm-hmm.
I could have used more Han in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they're all playing parts. They're talking to the Chewbacca family. And then, unfortunately, the Empire's getting involved and trying to gum up the works. They're over at Chewbacca's house. They're looking for, rebels in hiding here on the planet Kashyyyk, where the Wookiees they call home. So they make themselves at home here in the Chewbacca residence. They start trashing the place, looking for clues. They can't find anything. And while all this is going on, we just get like little vignettes about the Star Wars universe that you never knew you needed. We get sexual fantasy dreams for the elderly. We get some animation involving Boba Fett, which was quite the story. That was cool. And what else happens? We get this little
Like 2
live
hours
video.
long.
There's a live video feed in Tatooine. I don't know why anyone wants to see what's going on in a bar, but we get a little number there. Eventually, Han and Chewbacca make it home for Life Day, and somehow they all end up in some cultish ritual at the end, dressed in robes, and that's the end of the movie.
Wow.
1978 Star Wars Holiday Special. I personally had never seen this. Proto has not seen this, judging by some of the reactions. When I proposed this idea, I'll take the blame for this. I'll take the blame for suggesting that we do this. It's never been done. I don't think any podcast has ever done this on Christmas Day. Never happened. But man, this is something else. This is a 1.2 rating on Letterboxd right now.
Mm-hmm.
This TV special is trash. This was the longest 2 hours I think I've had to sit, 97 minutes. I haven't felt this way about sitting through something since last episode's Babes in Toyland. But it was like something, it felt different because this is Star Wars. This came out after A New Hope. And I'm like insulted by what I'm seeing on screen. Danny, did you feel the same way?
Oh yeah. It's insanely garbage. The problem was that no one at Lucasfilm was in charge of this. They kind of let it be made by people who write variety shows at CBS. And because this came out after A New Hope, everyone at Lucasfilm was in the process of getting ready for Empire. They were moving offices, etc. I think the only thing that George wrote in any of this was the cartoon, the script for the cartoon. He had a rough outline of wanting to tell a Wookiee story, and that's basically all he did. I don't even think he liked it when it was all said and done. There's no way he could have.
There's an anecdote that I found on the wiki that said George needed Carrie to do like a director's commentary for one of the movies. And she said, I'll do it for a copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special so that I can play it at parties when I want people to leave. which is a genius idea, because if I wanted people to leave my house, I'd be like, I'll pop this thing in. Yeah. That'll get people to leave real quick. Right from the get-go, my first note is, this looks bad. Like I was getting like really nervous. Like you hear the things like, oh, it's really bad. It stinks. You don't know. When you sit down and watch this, it looks bad. The tree house that the Chewbacca family lives in, it's just like a 70s apartment. Then there's like no Kashyyykiness about it. It's just an apartment building. And they tell you the names. Their names. Itchy, Lumpy. What moron came up with these names? His name's Chewbacca, and these are his kids' names?
The names, it's one kid. The names are nicknames. So like Mala is like Mala Tobak, and then Itchy is like a Titachuck, like a Titachuck or something like that. And then Lumpy is Lumpa Rumpa or Parump or something. They're all like super long names. So what we get in the show is just their nicknames. And the Mala costume was actually a reused Chewbacca costume, I believe. But Itchy and Lumpy were both made by Stan Winston.
Berto, what's going through your mind when you're sitting down to watch this?
Well, I was getting yelled at by my kids and my wife to turn this off. My wife could only hear what was going on from the other room, and she was saying, "Turn it off," like from the other room. I mean, just the musical numbers in this.
Oh my God!
Are there's a rock ballad in the middle of this that is just
Jefferson Starship.
horrendous. It is horrendous.
Sadly, I thought that was the best part of the whole thing.
Wow.
The Jefferson Starship performance.
Holy
I was
cow.
like, I can get an F with this compared to the rest of this thing. I mean, it's like on another level compared to everything else.
I mean, this is a cursed video. Like, you see this, and you can't go back. Like, this is now inside of like Star Wars, like my understanding of Star Wars. I know it's, of course, this is like a Christmas special. It doesn't really exist anywhere else. But just, I mean, this has Luke, Han, and Leia in it. And it makes me sick just thinking about it.
How to that point, when Luke appears in his little vignette, his FaceTime call, is he wearing beige lipstick? Who is putting the makeup on Luke that literally makes him look like a woman in Luke Skywalker costume? I didn't think it was Hamill at first.
It's impressive.
It was crazy.
It's really impressive, actually.
That was one of my notes. Was just Luke. I felt like, hindsight being what it is, this is just a total disaster. Star Wars became nothing after this. Nobody would give a crap. But I mean, they didn't know what was coming. Like, Leia sings in this movie a song. This reel. I didn't even know that was in it until she started singing a song about Life Day. I almost threw up.
We celebrate a day of peace, a day of harmony, a day of joy we all can share, together joyously, a day that takes us through the darkness, a day that leads us into light, a day that makes us want to celebrate.
Yeah, and also, it's, like, I think, holiday special, Star Wars, kids love this, but there is definitely an underlying horniness to this whole special. Like, the dance numbers, these gymnastic moves that these holograms are doing, very inappropriate for a family. This shop owner guy, who,
Oh my God.
he's bare chested except for a sheepskin jerkin that's covering up, what lies beneath.
he was one of the most annoying characters in this entire thing, and he's in what feels like 80% of it.
Yeah, he's like
He
the
says
star of
80%
this.
of the lines. Art Carney, I think, is the actor's name. Just terrible. You talked about Itchy
Mhm.
getting the gift from Art Carney, and it's like a VR solo musical performance from a very sensual one, Diane Carroll. And he's like, you could see he gets this gift, and I'm like, is this drugs? Did he give him drugs? Because he's like jumping around, he's like jacked up, and he sits in his little chair with his effed up face, and he puts a little helmet down, and it's just like this weird one-on-one musical performance for like 5 minutes.
Well, it even starts by saying like, you know, I am your ultimate fantasy of your mind forming before you. Yeah, like and then you would just see Itchy sitting in the chair, and he's like doing that thing with his jaw, like he's just like soaking this in, and just the visual of that. You've got this hairy monster sitting in this chair with like this doohickey, helmet going down over his face, and inside the thing that he's watching is like these women that are first like naked sperm dancing in like in like water or something, and then it pulls back and it's her. Yeah, and at that point, I think that's when I messaged you guys. Like I could not, like I was just getting overloaded with what I was seeing on screen.
And that's in the middle of the living room of their little hut, their tree hut. He's just having these like aroused VR experiences just in the middle of the room where his family is hanging around him.
It reminded me of a James Bond intro with the dancing women. I mean, she says, "Come experience me."
Yes.
Like, what?
Chewbacca would not have allowed that if he was there.
No, not one bit.
Danny, what's on your list for the Star Wars holiday special that you took down?
I mean, it's bad. I mean, what I would like to talk about is the things that are technically still canon a little bit, which would be the Boba Fett appearance and Life Day itself. Life Day is still kind of celebrated. Now, I know this is a holiday special, but it wasn't meant for Christmas. It was meant for Thanksgiving. So this came out November 17th, and that's when we still celebrate Life Day in the Star Wars universe. And so Life Day itself is like the celebration of joy and, you know, family and all that stuff. And that's what we see at the end when the Wookiees are in the red robes and they walk through the star to go to the Tree of Life. And the Tree of Life is technically the seed of like the first seed of the planet of Kashyyyk and stuff like that. So this is still like canon in the Star Wars universe, which I like that it's still kind of come out of this. We still celebrate Life Day. They kind of still celebrate Life Day on Batuu here in Galaxy's Edge and stuff like that. So I like.
Do you celebrate Life Day? Do you do anything special?
I just share art like an idiot. I don't do anything special for Life Day. That's kind of it. I mean, I actually really like the animation.
So do I.
I thought there's some goofiness to it. I think it's a Canadian company that did it. And it's actually the only thing that they've released that you could have officially have purchased. It was on like the 2011 Blu-rays. They released the animated short just as like an extra on those Blu-rays.
Oh, wow. I wonder how that looked. Have you recently watched it? I wonder
I haven't, and I have
the resolution of that thing.
I should watch them actually.
I did write that down. It felt like Aeon Flux, like if it was produced in the 70s. So I liked the kind of like weird alternate stylings of these famous characters. And I enjoyed Boba, his like drab color scheme. Like I still dug that. I liked his voice. I liked how he tricked idiot Luke, into thinking he was his friend. And also the design of Vader on that video call in the animated spot.
Yeah.
His design was badass.
Rad. I'm trying to look up the company. I think it was Mobius, and I don't know if they were actually in charge of doing Aeon Flux.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it too. I think it was a little jarring at first because, like you were saying, just the characterizations were just different. My one note was that in the opening, Luke looks like Julie Andrews from A Sound of Music, and in the cartoon he looks like Nick Nolte. It was
gosh.
so different. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Like once I was in it, I was like, this is cool. I could have seen myself watching something like this on Saturday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really. Is that the only time that Luke flies a Y-wing though?
I want to say most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I don't think he's flown a Y-wing. Maybe in the comics, but nothing else.
Vignettes themselves, obviously terrible. It is kind of like a really bad variety special. Like these are meant to be kind of like funny vignettes that take place, but they're really not. None of it lands. How about the B. Arthur Cantina vignette? Did that not feel like a 2-hour movie all in one shot?
It's so bad.
It just went on and on and on. And like, what was the point?
What was the point?
She's
the bartender and she sings songs about like the Empire has a curfew. She's trying to kick people out of her bar. They don't want to go. She sings a song. There's this one freak that has the hots for her and no one's listening to her. It's like not even so bad. It's good. Like I get what Carrie Fisher was talking about, like playing this to get people out of her house. Like I would never want to watch this again.
This could have been like we should have done like a Mystery Science Theater of this, and we should have done a watch party.
Oh,
I'm not watching this again. What else is on your list, Proto?
yeah, another one of those like sketches is I think it's called the Amorphia, where that guy, the shop owner, gives a gift to Lumpy. He takes it upstairs, and it's like this voice modulator or something, so it can like imitate any language in the galaxy. But it has like this instructional video to start, and it starts like there's like, I guess they're like, I don't know if they're like cyborgs or something or whatever who like create these things. So this instructional video, it involves this character who's supposed to be some kind of like, robot or cyborg who like keeps running out of power or like malfunctioning while he's doing it. And it's almost as if like what's supposed to be interesting is like that this guy can like play this kind of character and like fulfill these actions of like breaking down and like screwing things into his chin. But just that combined with the set piece of like this device, which looks like two pieces of cardboard with like a bottle caps like screwed on it. It was just so bad. Like the whole thing. Like I didn't want to watch any of it.
There's a lot of the set pieces where they go to Art Carney's shop. He has like this gift shop that the Empire somehow also visits to buy trinkets. And every object in that shop is just like from an Earth kitchen. Like there's like a shoebox that he opens up at one point. There's no attention to detail whatsoever about the objects that he's trying to sell this Empire dude. And that was like one of the first vignettes where I like started to get irritated that this thing exists. Like now I was like, maybe this is why they don't put this on the Disney Plus app. Like jokingly before I saw this, like, oh yeah, they should put that on there. No, don't ever put this on there. Don't ever do it. When Chewie does arrive, Han and Chewie do make it to their treehouse finally. And Han, there's so many scenes where Han just expresses his love for the Chewbacca family. It was starting to get on my nerves. So out of character. I was like, Han, just shut up. You can't even tell Leia how you feel. I'm like pushing up my glasses. You never talk to Leia like this, Han. But then Chewie, so there's a 5-minute scene of Han saying hello to Chewie's family. Chewie doesn't even say hello to them. He's standing at the door for 5 minutes before he even says hello to his family. What was going on in that scene? Please.
No one can explain it. There's nothing can be explained in this.
Well, we had that. Oh, I forgot. The movie starts with you watching Chewie's family talk to one another, but there's no subtitles. It's just them like
none,
just, to each other. And then, I guess maybe that's why at the end, they didn't want to have more of that. So it's like, well, we have Han here. Let's have him talk and actually say something that we can understand. But I mean, trying to make sense of any of this, there's no
fool's
sense.
errand.
Yeah.
No sense.
Danny, what else is on your list?
Nothing. There's nothing. I mean, we can pick scenes to talk about, but this is ridiculous. I mean, as a Star Wars fan, I barely appreciate this thing.
The last thing I have is, and I mentioned it earlier, Leia sings at the end of this.
It's so good.
What is going on?
How can you not love that?
It's so bizarre. Again, hindsight being 2020, it's shocking what happens at the end of this film. All his friends appear at Life Day, even though they all said goodbye 2 minutes earlier. Han did another 10-minute goodbye. I love you, Mala and Itchy and Lumpy with your effed up face, and I'll see you another time. And then Han appears at Life Day celebration. They're all there. They're all hugging, and Leia sings to close it out. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's 2020, and I was still stunned by this whole thing.
Yeah, I wonder how the actors felt about this, because they had like really pretty small parts. You know, maybe Harrison Ford had maybe the largest part where he was like on the set, but I guess they all were. But I wonder like what they thought of it, like if they knew this was just like a disaster before it was live, or if they just knew going into it, and like everyone, you know, George is like, this is going to be a disaster. Like I'm very, you know, I'm curious as to what the expectations were, and like going into it. Like I need a documentary about the behind the scenes.
I do know that neither they've been on record saying that neither Mark or Harrison has said they've never watched it.
Good for them.
I guess at the time too, if you do this 1978 and they only aired it once, in your mind, it's never getting seen again.
Ever.
Like if something airs once on television and they have no plans to produce it on a VHS, like you probably think you're safe for the next 15 years.
And they were.
You know?
They really were. I mean, it wasn't until the like, I don't even know, early 2000s. That sounds dumb. But it wasn't until like the convention scene kind of picked up that people were unearthing these VHSs and converting it to the DVDs and passing it around. I mean, it was years before it ever like saw the light of day again, because they never sold it, never released it. It only aired for that 2-hour time. And unless you recorded on your VHS, this thing was never being seen again.
What a Christmas gift.
Merry Christmas.
2020, the 70 millimeter holiday special for Star Wars. Any other notes that you wanted to cover, Proto, about this experience?
My only other note is that the Empire really has a hunger for male Wookiees. They wanted Chewbacca so bad, but I'm glad they didn't get him.
This was the first time that James Earl Jones was credited for Darth Vader too, which is sad because he was uncredited in New Hope.
Disaster. Well, I hope everyone considers watching it to experience it, but I'll be honest with you, don't do it. Just listen to this.
Do it.
Don't do it.
Please do it.
Have a relaxing Christmas morning.
Merry
Go
Christmas.
watch something else. Merry Christmas. Merry whatever you celebrate. We'll see everybody next time. In lieu of our normal send-off, and since this is the last holiday episode of the year, here is a special poem sent in from our friend Neil, shared on our Discord that you can join at 70mmpod.com. And it needed to be heard from a wider audience. Thank you to everyone who listened this year. We appreciate you. And now, paired with the musical stylings of our dear friend Vontmer, whom you too can listen on this Christmas day with a link in our show notes, is Neil's holiday poem.
'Twas the pod before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The hosts were abed, they lay their heads down, Danny and Slim in pyjamas, Prot in nightcap and gown. And as they drifted to sleep as the big day drew near, they thought of the films that had brought Christmas cheer. The first was based on a book, but films are better than reading, as our hosts pondered Frog and Pig into breeding. Something for everyone, the Muppets, Michael Caine, and for the sickos, enjoy Danny's emotional pain. Next we had Moses and his commandments for life, which our host broke as they coveted Ramesses' wife. Some villagers doubted this choice, but soon they felt shame. Go big or go home. Do you think it's a game? Finally, the lads went to Bedford Falls, where Jimmy Stewart had a wonderful life after all. A brilliant actor, but just has something missing. You'd think someone so handsome would have more practice kissing. As the host tried to sleep, one question was posed. How could they bring this run to a close? With so many great films still left to see, what could the last holiday movie be? At that moment from downstairs there came a great clatter, and our host ran down to see what was the matter. They looked left to right for the source of the sound, then down the chimney St. Nick came with a bound. "Santa," they exclaimed at the jolly old elf, "have you come to put presents out on the shelf?" Santa winked, a smile crossed his face, and from his bag Santa took out a VHS case. He threw them the video with a flick of his hand, and they read the title, Babes in Toyland. "Keanu," said Danny, "will this be a hit?" "Not really," said Santa, "it's a load of old shit." With that, he laid his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. "Brilliant, 5 stars," cried Danny and Slim, but Prote disagreed, it got 3 stars from him. Santa sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all. How you guys doing? You all right?"